Hey everyone, today we are continuing in our reading to the letter to the Galatians, and today we're going to kind of straddle two chapters. We're going to be at the end of chapter 3 and the beginning of chapter 4, and Paul is continuing in this long argument to the Galatians about why circumcision is not necessary to be a follower of Jesus. Remember that circumcision was a sign of God's covenant promise to Abraham, and it was later repeated in the law as well. By circumcision, people were adopted into the promise that God gave to Abraham. So in today's reading, Paul is setting us up to show that the law had purpose, but it was completely fulfilled in Jesus. So in chapter 3, verse 23, we read this: "Before the way of faith in Christ was available to us, we were placed under guard by the law. We were kept in protective custody, so to speak, until the way of faith was revealed. Let me put it another way. The law was our guardian until Christ came. It protected us until we could be made right with God through faith. And now that the way of faith has come, we no longer need the law as our guardian." I really like that image of the law as our guardian. It had a purpose in caring for people for a time until it could be completely fulfilled and ultimate redemption could come through Jesus. So now we're going to contrast that image of guardian to the image of adoption. In chapter 4, verse 4 to 7, Paul writes this: "But when the right time came, God sent his son, born of a woman, subject to the law. God sent him to buy freedom for us who were slaves to the law, so that he could adopt us as his very own children. And because we are his children, God has sent the Spirit of his Son into our hearts, prompting us to call out, 'Abba, Father.' Now you are no longer a slave, but God's own child. And since you are his child, God has made you his heir." So Paul is saying here that we were slaves to the law, but God sent Jesus to buy our freedom and to completely fulfill everything that the law has set up. And because of this, Jesus' death and resurrection not only fulfills the law, but it also gives us a new and free identity as God's children. So it satisfies all the requirements that the law set up, and this included circumcision. Paul is saying to the people of Galatia that circumcision is not necessary anymore. We are all children of God because of what Jesus did on the cross. And this message of good news, I just pray that this message of good news sinks deep into your soul today, because this message that Paul is saying to the Galatians applies to you and I today. Jesus' death and resurrection has set you free from your past, and you have been adopted as God's child. All praise be to him. Grace and peace to you today. I hope that you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.
If these devotional videos are helpful to you, subscribe to our channel and click the notification button so you know when we post a new video. And of course, please share them with others.